Good morning, everyone. It is April the 23rd, 2024. It's been a very long Easter. It's been a long election. It still isn't over yet. And to top it all off, the Easter weekend was not very happy. At the end of the Easter weekend, Pope Francis died. So that has got millions of people around the world in mourning at the present time as well. And he was definitely a good pope, and he spoke out for those who were marginalized, like I'm trying to speak out for those who are marginalized. And I'm not the only one. There's many people who are trying to speak out for the marginalized in our society. And things seem to be getting worse as it goes. And I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you where this is going to all end. I just try to say things as I see them. And as I said, things have got worse since the pandemic. And I know I described this in a previous video, but I know people like the way I have described it. So I'm just going to redo it a little bit again and say, well, before the pandemic, I felt myself a little like Alice in Wonderland. Everything seemed normal. Everything seemed to be more or less in place. I think we were sort of blindsided by some of the things that we were sort of hearing and underneath, but not really able to comprehend what was really happening. And then the pandemic came along. And what I find is it was like I was feeling like I was Alice in Wonderland looking through the looking glass. And then as I entered the looking glass, instead of sort of going through the looking glass, but the reflection was the pandemic. Everyone around us was going through the pandemic. We were shut in, we were locked down. Things were happening still in the outside world, and we didn't appear to be really aware fully of what was going on, although the news channels did try to keep us informed the best they could. And then we came out of the pandemic. And coming out of the pandemic was like stepping out of the looking glass. And instead of walking into a wonderland, we were walking into a world of chaos and trying to figure out what just happened. And I think we were all in shock at the beginning, and then we were scrambling to try and put it together. The governments around the world were baffled and overwhelmed, is another way of putting it as well. I think we were all overwhelmed, and many people didn't make it through the looking glass in one piece. They came out. A lot more mental illness showed up as well. And people have to understand that what we've done is we've been working on it, but it takes time. It doesn't come overnight. And this is why I keep saying the only way that we can sort this out is to work together in a shared leadership role to try and solve our problems. And there's many, many problems. And the election, the federal election right now is certainly showing it. The election in the States last November. And everyone, I don't blame everyone for voting for Trump. In a way, I think they thought they were going to get change. And I'm seeing this. Even in our own federal election this year, people want change. But we want change for the better. And we keep crossing our fingers that whoever we vote for is going to bring in that better. And it's as my parents used to say, sometimes you have to look at everyone that you're going to vote for, and the one that you think is going to be less, who's not going to be as, how do you put that, less dramatic, less evil in a sense. The less worse than the other person. Maybe he's going to be a bit better than the other person. And it's so hard. It's like trying to balance scales. And one scale goes up here and the other scale goes down here and up and down and up and down. And that's the way we've been going, is up and down on this crazy scale right now, trying to figure out our lives and how we're going to come out of this. Right now there's mourning around the world. We've got the election right after the funeral of the Pope. And you can see, and I don't blame people because people want change. I know I want change, but change for the better. I think every one of us that wants to go to the voting polls wants the better. But is that party going to be better? Or but sometimes we have to stick maybe with what we do have. which is actually the lesser of two evils. That's the way I'm looking at it, because the other parties are not been tested in against Trump. They have not been tested against the world, what and all of what's going on at this particular time, and things are really reflecting in the polls. I mean, I've never seen it. I've always gone to the advanced polls, which I did on Friday when the advanced polls opened. I was one of that 2 million people that showed up at a long, lengthy line to get into the polls. And you can see how badly people want change, because we're getting record numbers here at the polls right now. For the 4 days that the polls were open, it was 7.3 million at the polls wanting change and to make sure that their vote counted. And this has been the most turnout for voting since 1988 for Canada. So it's showing people really, really want this change. And I know how badly people want this change. So I can see, and I want to put up my next video I want to put up, because this is part of the change that has to be done too. And there's so much, but I just want to speak of one aspect of it, and that's on the femicide. Now they're calling it femicide when a woman is killed by a man. And I could have been a statistic myself. After 40 years of domestic abuse, I was nearly strangled to death, as I stated a few times. So I could have been part of that. But the problem is the government's not necessarily always listening to the people, and it's really the people who have to come forward and speak. And the government has to open their ears and listen, and then try and find a way through listening to the people on the best way, and with help from the people to get something better in. And, it's a crazy world. People don't know who they are anymore. We're kind of lost. And if you want to call this a wonderland, boy, we're really lost in a wonderland that's not a wonderland. It's something else, for sure. But it's scary. It's going to be scary for a while. We're still coming out of everything. I mean, we'll find out in another 4 days who wins the election. In another couple of days, the Pope will have the funeral. And then, of course, we have to find out who is going to be the new Pope. And everyone's wondering, is he going to be as good and as kind as the last Pope was? Because he's going to be, his shoes are going to be very huge to fill, because he spoke out against those who were mistreating people and what he saw in humanity that wasn't right, even though the background is that the Catholic Church did have a horrible thing with the residential schools, with colonization. They did some horrible things. But I think he saw that, and he was trying to reverse it. For the first time, he spoke up. And he spoke up against the United States for what they're doing on their human rights right now in the States as well, including when he talked to the Vice President of the United States just the day before he died. So I wanted just to bring this forward, and I want to show you this video that I want to put up next on femicide, because this is a femicide that happened a couple of weeks ago in my community here. And this man didn't even apparently know this woman. But it's just men taking things out on women, even though they didn't do anything in some cases to deserve it. They're just some woman at random that they go after. And all this anger and stuff that gets pressed down. It's like people can be like volcanoes. You can suppress, like a volcano suppresses all the gases before it blows. You can suppress all your anger, and it's coming out so many ways and against each other, and that shouldn't be. And at the same time, I see good stories, good news stories as well, on how kind other people can be still in our society, and trying to make things better for people. So I'm going to leave it there today. I'm just going to put up the other video, and it's something that I may talk a bit more about, but I just wanted to bring people kind of up to date, where I know, I feel it too, we're all mixed up right now. We don't know if we're coming or going, but we have to find our way out of this, and the only way we can do it is together. That is the hope for the future. And like I said, we have voting, but is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? But we're going through a period in history right now. And it's another cycle, I believe, in history where so much bad happens and then suddenly the good takes over again. So we're in a problem, but we have to stick together and work together, everyone, because it's, as they say in the Bible, love thy brother or love thy sister. Don't hurt people. Find good ways to help people. And one little good deed can lead to another good deed. And it's like a chain reaction. And if we look at things as a chain reaction in doing good, then that's where we're going to get things done. That's the way I think. I'm thinking right now is the hope is let's do good things and start a chain reaction of good. And then maybe we can get people turned around again to looking at what's good, not bad. So I'm going to leave it there, everyone, today. Take care, be safe, and watch your surroundings. Bye-bye.